the spring of 2018, in Ocala, Florida, a lakeside neighborhood was suddenly struck by a cluster of massive sinkholes. Resident Shannon Cole has lived in the community for 3 years in a house overlooking the lake. One afternoon, Shannon noticed something unusual happening out on the water.
The lake had just this real small vortex, and that's when I kind of realized things weren't right.
The vortex was a warning sign of a much larger threat. The next clue was less subtle.
There was 3 different spots on the lake that was bubbling, and those 3 spots made this huge, water explosion on the lake. It was like putting a stick of dynamite underwater.
Shannon's initial reaction was to get his phone out and take a video of what he was witnessing.
It was bubbling water at the edge of the lake.
But Shannon didn't expect to capture this. The unsettling explosions were a sign. A sinkhole was about to strike.
I knew that there had to be some kind of a void under the ground to make that kind of an explosion. That's when something big was about to happen.
The earth around the lake had softened. Another indication a sinkhole might be forming.
Out of the blue, the ground underneath our feet felt like we were on a waterbed. That's when I told my fiance, we need to get on top of the hill. She wasn't going fast enough. I ended up holding her and pulling her up the hill. That's when things got really surreal out there.
Seconds after Shannon and his fiance started running for their lives, several sinkholes appeared around the lake's shoreline.
I was absolutely frightened. I felt like we were going to watch an entire lake get swallowed, and I was so afraid that we were going to go with it.
And this was just the beginning of a long nightmare for Shannon and his neighbors. Local residents who lived near the lake watched helplessly as the holes crept towards their home.
I began to see sinkholes forming, and they were actually bubbling, and it was beginning to get bigger as the minutes went by.
We were on the grass outside watching it. It got closer and closer to us, one hole after another. Once it started getting into the grass area, it was just like, oh, it's getting closer to the house.
The sinkholes were now only 30 feet from the lakefront properties.
We seen that it was working its way towards our building. That's when it really kicks in. It really makes you worry that the building is going to be part of this whole entire thing.
I didn't understand what was going on, but I knew that it was a serious problem.
Shortly after the sinkhole attacks, Emergency Management Director Preston Bolin was one of the first on the scene.
We were actually watching the water level actually drop as we stood here.
For their safety, residents were told to evacuate their homes.
We didn't know how close that they were going to get to the condos. Even a small hole can turn into something catastrophic and take out large structures such as this.
The residents of Ocala were discovering the harsh reality of living among Florida's sinkholes.
When they told us we were being evacuated, we had 15 to 20 minutes to grab valuables, pack them into the car, and go.
We ran through the house as fast as we could. We got everything that was very important to us.
I was panicking. I was just really thinking about what my family's going to do from here. Where are we going to go?
Despite the unpredictable